That's the
Like
thing.
so
It's all
perfect.
about branding, right? You fit perfectly with my branding. So I don't, Cara just wanted this to be a kind of like a very relaxed conversation. So it didn't take me long to start reviewing her new book, you guys, that launches tomorrow. I was telling them before you popped on here, everyone just needs to go pre-order it, because I probably got through like the first 10 pages and I told Cara, I was like first crying and then fist bumping and then cheering, because I've told her before, everything that's in my head or that I've thought of or that I've gone through, she puts perfectly in words, which is not my strength. She is amazing at every single time, every paragraph. I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. Oh my gosh, that's me. So it didn't take me long to come up with questions for you that I think everyone would want to know. I have a mastermind and I have clients and I talk to my team all the time. And one of the first things that I tell them, and I don't even know the answer to this, is to be comfortable with yourself. So I'd love to know from you and every coaching person that's ever just be comfortable, just be happy with, be comfortable in your skin. Like from you, what does that mean? What does that mean to be comfortable in your skin?
That is such a great question. And I'm so glad that you started on that topic, because the first line of the book is, I'm a woman who is obsessed with becoming comfortable in her own skin. Like that has just been my mission for my whole life. I mean, my story of being insecure and dealing with insecurities goes all the way back to childhood. I was always a chubby kid. You know, I was not like unpopular, but I wasn't like a cool girl. Like, you know, we all had our struggles growing up. And through the years, I was just like on this like mission to just become this confident woman. And I think for the longest time, I thought that the answers to finding my own confidence were going to be outside of myself in some way. So I imagined that it would be through losing weight, or through, you know, like being in a good relationship, or having like my dream job. And what I realized is that really becoming comfortable with myself and learning to not just accept myself, but love myself was more like an issue of unlearning things rather than learning new things. So when we are filled with so much messaging, like messages are thrown at women every single day about what we need to change, right? Like, you know, you have to fix this. Like, here's a roadmap to be happy. Here's a blueprint to run your business. Here are all these different things you need to do because you're not good enough yet. And I hate that messaging. And I really try to change the messaging with my audience and with the women who read my books and come to me, and let them know, like, you are perfect exactly as you are. There is nothing that has to change. You can want to improve yourself, right? We all want to improve ourselves, whether it is losing weight to be healthier, or growing a business, or making a lot of money. We deserve everything that we want, but we have to start from a place of love, and we have to approach any change or any growth or any evolution in our life from a place of love. And I think it's really just about undoing all of the programming that tells us that we're sick, we're broken, we're a mess, we don't have it together, someone out there has more than we do, and really just start there.
It's I can't even tell you how many times I've stopped myself and I'm like, well, when I have the perfect office, or when I lose, or I've spent you wrote it in here about you guys, when you read the book, there's a whole section of not being on camera, or not taking pictures, or only taking pictures waist up. That was me. And it's so true that if we just stop, I mean, we're just wasting time, because nothing's ever going to be perfect. And those imperfections are what make people love us all the more, I think. And I loved reading.
More.
What was that?
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. I mean, like, when I look at the women that I'm really inspired by, they're the women who are not perfect. They're the women who do show their flaws. They're the women who are relatable to me. You know, I don't want to follow somebody on Instagram who has a perfectly curated feed, who's, you know, making a ton of money, who never talks about any of the struggles, maybe when they weren't making money or weren't making a lot of sales or bringing in dream clients. Like, I want to connect with people who are real. And I think if we could just shift our mindset and realize that in the realness and in the rawness of who we are is where the beauty truly lies.
And instead of trying to connect with everyone, trying to connect with the people that we have connections with, if that makes sense to everyone. I mean, and so many, we're in the direct sales network marketing industry. And so I think now that everything's shifted to social media, we see all these perfect people and we think that we can't start, or we need to do everything perfect like them. And I don't remember where I read it, something that said, we're just seeing the the perfect parts on social media, and most of the time not the downside. So you're refreshing to me, because I love hearing when you're having a bad day. I love knowing when your struggles, like it just makes you relatable. And I think everyone can grab from that. My next question, kind of in line with this, would be when people say, fight your fear. Just fight your fear. You know, I mean, I had everyone, and I told everyone, you will make me so happy tonight. Turn on your video cameras. Turn them on, you know, let people see you, because I think being on camera is hard in itself, just to see yourself and look at yourself and hear yourself. It's very difficult. And we focus on video a lot for their businesses. And we say, you know, people are literally shaking. So when people are fearful of things, or when you have clients that are fearful, how do you help them overcome those fears?
I think baby steps are brilliant. That is one of my mantras that I remind myself of constantly. Baby steps, even if it is the smallest thing, putting yourself out there. Maybe if you've never shown a picture of your face, just take a selfie and put it up there. And then you don't have to do anything else for an entire week, and then come back to it and do something else that feels a little bit more uncomfortable. Maybe you do, instead of a Facebook Live, maybe you do an Instagram story where you do like a quick 5 or 10 second snap, just saying hi and thanking people for, you know, coming to your page. I think sometimes we get so overwhelmed because we feel like we have to do everything at once and it's got to be done perfectly. And that is just not the case. When I look back at my own life and I think about the things that I've done, you know, I've always wanted to write books, and now this is my 7th book. It's my 5th full-length nonfiction book. But if I never took that first chance and self-published my first book, which, by the way, I like my first book, but I still kind of cringe when I read it because I know my writing has gotten so much better through the years, but I would have never become a better writer if I didn't put that out there and start somewhere. And for the record, for those of you that don't know, my first book was self-published because my first book was rejected by 19 publishers. So you want to talk about rejection. I have like seen it all, felt it all, had it all happen to me. So I am no stranger to what it feels like to be a quote failure. But I realized very early on in my journey in my career that I had to change my definition of failure. And I had to start looking at failure as simply an experience. It is not good. It is not bad. It is a neutral experience that I can learn from and grow from. So if you're scared to do something, and maybe you do a Facebook Live and you forget your train of thought, or, you know, 2 people show up and you immediately want to consider that a failure, give yourself credit and celebrate the fact that you just showed up, because it's going to get easier the next time, and then the next time, and the next time. And it never, I think the fear never really truly goes away. I always say that when I talk about being fearless, to me, being fearless just means showing up anyway. That is how I define fearlessness: feeling the fear and showing up anyway, even if it is the tiniest little baby step, but just being there. You're ahead of most people if you just take that step.
That's such a great point. And with that, I think a hard part for a lot of direct sellers is they join as a hobby. You know, they're not business owners yet. And so taking those baby steps is the first thing. But when you're having a down day, like when your days are off, you know, when you don't feel like showing up, how do you stay consistent? What are some things that, you know, maybe you just, for me, you know, if I'm having an off day, it's really hard to be like, oh, I have to go live today and put on this face to remember to maybe stay authentic. What are some things that you do to kind of keep yourself on track, showing up with your online community?
So some of you may not know this, but I actually am in direct sales now as well. I am actually doing a program called To Be Mindset through Beachbody that I had no intention of ever becoming a seller for, but the girl who introduced me to it was like, Cara, you have a massive audience. Like, let me at least give you a referral link. So I'm not really building a team, but I'm sharing and inviting people and just sharing my journey with everybody. So I totally get where you guys are coming from. And I have felt that, especially now in this leg of my business, right? I don't always want to eat a healthy meal. I don't always want to drink, 90 ounces of water a day. And when I find myself struggling, because I do believe so much in this program and I do want to share it, when I find myself feeling depleted or feeling like I don't know what to say or I'm not in the mood today, I go to my team and I lean on the people around me and I jump into our little support group and I ask questions and I tell people how I'm feeling. So if you guys are feeling that, like, lean on each other. I mean, Jill, you do such an incredible job of leading your team and rallying and getting everyone together and supporting them. So I think it's important to be honest. And I talk about it so much in this book, like just being real with each other and saying, like, I don't have it all together today. I'm kind of falling apart today. Like, can you help me? Can you maybe give me a little bit of a pep talk? What do you do when this happens to you? And it goes back to, you know, the concepts of Girlcode, of forming your tribe and really learning how to lean on your tribe. So it's kind of like a two-part thing, like, you know, be willing to bear it all and then be willing to go to people and ask them for help. And that always makes me feel better, just knowing that I'm not alone. And sometimes that's enough. Like sometimes that's all I need, is to know I am not alone. It's okay. This will pass. And tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to show up differently.
That's so awesome. That's awesome that you're doing direct sales. Listen to that, lady. So, it's funny that you just, I've been following someone else that's intertwining a direct sales company with her brand. And there's so many great benefits of it. I talk to my teams all the time about the fact that you have to own you. And if you are loving doing this, that's all that matters. And it can represent you. A lot of women still just hang their head and they're so worried about what other people think. So that is a great lead in too. When you were thinking of joining this, did you think that it would hurt your brand at all? Like, did you have any kind of pullback?
Yes. Oh yeah. It was a risk for me because a lot of people have a very negative mindset about direct sales, which I don't understand at all, because I think it's amazing. And I don't understand why anyone would be turned off to it. But a lot of people do, specifically with weight loss. And for me, I had to not only put it out there that I was going to be involved in direct sales, but now I was going to talk about weight loss, which is something that was maybe could be seen as contradictory to all the body positivity stuff that I talk about. So I had to work on figuring out a way to message this, you know, information to people and let them know I was focusing on weight loss for my health, and not because I hate the way that I look or because I want to be skinny, because I want to be a better version of me. I want to be stronger. I want to be healthier. So I was dealing with like both of those fears. But honestly, not one person, knock on wood, has said one negative thing, at least not to my face or on my social media feed. In fact, I've helped like probably at this point 150 women so far in the past couple of weeks sign up for the program, and they're loving it. And they've told me that it's changed their life. So what I do is focus on the positive, and I focus on who I can help, and I focus on what the product is actually doing for me and how it's helping me. And so for you guys, like shifting the focus from what are people going to say about me? You know, what is my, you know, aunt's best friend who I met once, who's now my Facebook friend, might, you know, say or think or gossip about me. And instead thinking about how in love with the product you are and how many other women will fall in love with it, and, you know, how they can grow a business too. So it's just really like what we focus on expands. So if we focus on all the fear and all the negativity and all the scariness, that we're going to get more of that. So shifting into how much I love it, shifting into how incredible it's been for me has really been what's kept me going.
That's awesome. A couple things I loved. This happens to me all the time, but I love the part in the book where you talk about wanting to color your hair. And can you tell just like a little excerpt of that story for them? And because I want to do stuff all the time and I pull back and I listen to, you know what I mean? I listen to other people when originally it wasn't even what I wanted to do. So I love the little part of that story. If you could tell them that, and then maybe we can open it up for their questions, because I think it's great.
So I always loved pink hair. I thought that women who had pink hair were incredible and so bold and so fearless and just looked so cool. Like it was something that I wanted to do for myself. And way back, like in high school, when everybody was doing Manic Panic in the 90s, like I thought it was so cool, but I never wanted to draw attention to myself because I was very insecure and I didn't want people to laugh at me or think I was weird or all that stuff, all the stories we tell ourselves. So as I got older and as I grew more comfortable in my own skin and developed my confidence and, you know, saw that I could, you know, the more changes I made, more things that I did kind of step outside my comfort zone, I felt happier. And I felt that really helped me build my confidence. So when it came time to make the decision to do my hair pink, I had been mulling it around and I had a Pinterest board with like, you know, hundreds of pictures saved. My phone was like filled to the capacity with pictures of pink haired strangers I didn't know. And I was sitting in my hair salon one day and my hair underneath this is like platinum blonde because you have to be pretty light to go pink. And I said to the girl, my stylist, I said, I think I want pink hair. And she's like, oh yeah, okay. And she laughed and she kept doing my roots. And I was like, no, I really think I want it. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And I could feel like my whole body tensing up, but I just couldn't wait to say it because I knew when I said it out loud, I'd have someone who would be game. So we did a few little pieces at the bottom of my hair that day. And I felt so amazing when I walked out of the salon. I felt a little uncomfortable, but in such a good way. I felt like such a badass. And then like I went back the next time and we did it a little bit more pink and more pink. And like by the time that I like wrote this book, like you guys could see on the cover, my hair is like bright pink.
Awesome pink. I loved it.
And I go through all these different shades of it and it's so much fun, but like, it's definitely a test of confidence because people come up to you, you know, people heads turn, people say things, people ask questions. Usually it's all positive. A lot of people will compliment me and say that they love it. And I don't think they necessarily like want pink hair, but I think they think it's cool that you did something bold. So for me, it's like a way to express myself without having to necessarily say anything. It's like a statement for me. And it completely changed my life. If anybody is thinking of doing something like that, I highly recommend it because it's just been such a fun journey. And whenever I go back to blonde for a little while, I miss it. So that's why I'm pink again.
Every time I see it. And then when I saw your book cover, I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. And I think all the time, like initially, and I'm sure a lot of ladies on here are like, oh my gosh, I could never do that. But then you think, why couldn't you? Like, why couldn't you? Because of what? Because of what someone might say. And you know, it's all the things that you cover in this book of just, you know, we go through tons and tons and tons of training. My mastermind originally started about social media, but I started calling it the ultimate mastermind because I wanted it to be about all of these things, because we can teach people how to book and recruit and run a business, but if they don't have confidence and we don't address some of the things that hold people back, how far can you get?
It's so true. My mantra is woman first, boss second.
It's
you know, we have to build ourselves as women before we can even touch our businesses.
So true. I had, and where was my other question that I had? Oh, where'd she go? You've talked about this in a few times. And I think you actually addressed it when it came to like some friends and things through the years, but how do you avoid the things that people have said about you that have that they've defined you? Like, how do you get that stuff out of your head? Because I know a lot of ladies, you know, were either maybe bullied in school or told they weren't good enough or told, you know, you're doing one of those businesses or you'll never amount to anything, or you don't look like this, you're not skinny enough. So all of the things that people have told you that weren't true or that you've kind of smashed down, like how do you not let those things come back to you?
You know, at the end of the day, I have had to realize that someone else's opinion of me does not have to become my reality. And when people say hurtful things, they're usually hurt. They're usually angry. There's something about their life that they're unhappy with. I mean, think about it. I think we're all in this call. We're all really happy women. I don't think we'd go around like tearing somebody else down just for the hell of it. You know, we're secure in ourselves. So understanding where it comes from is the first step, and realizing that it's never really about you. But when those things do creep up and they are something that maybe does like set us off or trigger us, like I had an ex-boyfriend who used to love to make comments about my weight because he knew that that was the thing that bothered me and upset me, and he would always pick at it every single chance that he could. You know, I would just find things, and I still do. I find things that I'm proud of. I focus on the things I love about myself, and again, everything is energy. Like if anyone takes anything away from this call tonight, please know that everything is energy, and where we put our focus is what we are going to manifest. And that's what's going to create our world. So we're sitting around believing all those stories. We're going to feel that. That is going to become our truth. So understanding that we can choose to view the world through whatever lens we want. I always say I view the world through rosé tinted glasses. Like that becomes our reality. So again, it's always a choice, and people are always going to talk, but you know, as long as you're doing what makes you happy and you're living for yourself, life is so short. You know, I've had like quite a year and just seen a lot of things happen and untimely deaths, and just, you know, the world is crazy right now. And I think when we really take a step back and look at it and say, we only have one life to live, tomorrow is not promised. Why are we spending all of our energy worrying about other people? What would it look like if we put all of that energy and focus into our own lives and into our own businesses? Like, can you imagine like who we would be? It's amazing for me to think about.
I mean, even you saying that, I think it's such kind of a fire under me. That's when I started reading this book, and I told you, I was like, oh my God, yes. Like I was so happy because it's everything that I've been thinking. I've held myself back for over a year, just waiting for things to be perfect and struggling with my weight and thinking that I have to be a certain weight or live in a certain house or be at a certain point before I can do everything. And now I look back and think I've just wasted an entire year trying to make things perfect when all of those imperfections probably would have catapulted me anyway.
Yeah, I was just going through it today. I was like, oh, tomorrow's my book launch, like friends and family, drinks or whatever. And everyone's texting me, what are you wearing? What are you wearing? And in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't, been perfect this week. I've been going out to dinner, like had a few glasses of wine here or there. And I stopped myself. I was like, Cara, stop it. Like, you are going to ruin this moment for yourself. Who cares what you wear tomorrow night? The point is you're celebrating something. You're going to have a great time. If you feel a little bloated, you'll deal with it. You'll move on from it. Like, we focus on like such trivial BS sometimes, and we just get ourselves so caught up. But I think the point is being able to catch it in the moment and move through it. I think that's what it looks like to be confident, to go, you know what? I see you. I know that you're getting yourself crazy. I see what's going on here. The anxiety is creeping in. How am I going to empower myself and move past this moment? And that's exactly what I do.
I love that. I think Kimberly had a question. I'm going to unmute. Kimberly, you probably want to be unmuted.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay,
Hey,
good.
Kimberly.
Hi, Cara. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm talking to you. Okay. Oh, my daughter says hi too.
Oh,
Hi.
So we talk a lot about personal branding and creating your own brand. And anytime we're online, I can pick out your personal branding from anywhere. But what was that thought process of switching from your hot pink to your mauve? Like, what was that thought process like?
So I find myself just like, my brand really like is reflective of like what I'm just personally into at the time. So rather than looking at it as like what the brand and the business should look like, I think about what do I like? So I found myself more drawn to like a different shade of pink for a little while. So like I was kind of into the bubblegum pink, and even my hair is different now. My hair is like a lighter shade, and I just naturally gravitated towards that. So it wasn't like a strategy, or it wasn't like a thought really behind it. I really just post and do and design the way that I feel. And I think like sometimes we complicate it and we feel like we have to hire someone to like build this image of us and, pay people a bunch of money. Like, just do what you want. Do you know what my phone looks like right now? I'm going to show you guys this because you're going to laugh. I literally, the other night, I couldn't sleep and I was like, oh, I want to do something funky with my branding. So I literally went on Pinterest and I don't know if you can see it, but I downloaded all these cool backgrounds and I just started making these little images from my phone in my bed and posting them. And like now my aesthetic like switched again. So like, it's not that serious. Don't get too caught up in it. As long as you're being true to you, that's what's going to shine through, and that's what people are going to connect with.
that's what I've been trading them to. I love that you said that. And I see you guys' questions. I'm going to ask if you want to unmute yourself. So I love that you said that don't take it too seriously. And really your personal brand, you guys, is your character. It's your reputation, and it's everything else is going to evolve. And that's what you've like, if you have all of her books, you see like, it's not just about the colors and the fonts. It's almost a journey, which is super cool. Like you can see her journey through her books, and that's what you guys should be doing. Callie has a great question. Callie, do you want to be, I'm going to unmute you and you can just ask it because it's a great question.
Well, thanks, Jill. I need to talk. But so my question was, how do you do it all? I mean, you have family life, you have social life, you have your social media, which we all know you rock at. You're always on top of it. Writing books, doing all that you do. How do you find that balance of being able to A, get it all done, and B, just living a fulfilled life?
So that's a great question. And this is going to sound really weird and totally like opposite of what everybody tells everyone to do in business. But I do not schedule things and plan things in advance. Like I just do what I feel like doing that day. And I know it's crazy and it's like hard to wrap your brain around, and especially very type A people have a hard time getting this. But like, I don't sit there and go, okay, this week I need to do 2 podcasts, 3 blogs, 12 Instagram posts, and social media or Facebook Live or whatever. I just don't. I focus on getting myself in a space where I feel really, really good. And I'll tell you exactly how I do that. There's 2 questions I ask myself every single morning, and like write these down because these questions changed my life. I don't know where they came from. I don't know if I read it somewhere, if I thought of it. So I don't know. But every morning I wake up and I ask myself, what do I need more of today? And what do I need less of today? And in that answer, I'm able to build my day. I'm able to schedule in the things that I need to do. Day by day. Yes, Dawn, I saw that. Exactly. Day by day. Like just asking yourself, because some days, you know what? Some days I need to just like take a little break and go out and be social and do things and go to dinner and have fun and kind of go off the grid. Some days I need to just hunker down. I feel really inspired. I'll bust out like 3 podcasts and you'll see me all over Instagram. If you look even at my Instagram, there's like no there's no trend there. It's kind of like one day I'll post 5 times and then, you know, maybe I won't post for like 24 hours. So again, not overcomplicating it, doing what feels good. I think when we act from that place of like, oh my gosh, I have to get it all done, it shifts the energy and we start to feel resentful and we start to feel not good enough. And we start to put ourselves, you know, on this, like, we set these expectations that are just not realistic. So do what feels good. I know that's like a very, what's the word that I'm looking for? Different kind of a unique answer, but really just do what feels good.
You make me feel so normal. Yeah, I can't even tell you, because that's how I've gone through probably about 85 planners. You know, every January to get a new plan, I can't use them. Like, I have to accept that. I know. I'm not a planner girl. Not going to happen.
Me neither. Not at all. I want to be a planner girl. I used to watch YouTube videos religiously. Like, I wanted to be, I have like the most beautiful Louis Vuitton agenda that I stalked on the internet and finally found I do not write in this thing ever. So it's all up here. It's craziness.
And you have to accept, like, I think that's kind of fitting a square peg in a round hole, right? Like, some of us just aren't going to be planner people. It's just, I've accepted it.
And you guys, yes. And you guys, that's what this book is about. Like, if I could put this in like a nutshell, it's just about embracing who you are and being comfortable with who you are and like being more of yourself, you know, not trying to do what everybody else tells us to do, especially in the business world, especially in, you know, the world of entrepreneurs. Like, there's somebody at every turn telling you how to run your business. Like, if you could just do what makes you feel good, I swear your life would change.
Where's Courtney at? Courtney, I'm going to unmute you anyway, because you're unmuted, girl.
There we go.
Ask your question.
Okay. Well, I think I posted 2.
Pick one.
Let's see. What was the first one I asked? Oh, it was about leadership. Oh, advice on how to battle fear of not being worthy of leadership. Like, I'm building a team currently, and sometimes fear settles in that I'm not worthy of leading other people.
Aww. I would dig into why you're not worthy, why you feel that way. Where is that coming from? Do some journaling around it, because we all have our BS, we all have our bullshit, right? All the stuff that weighs on us that we carry with us. It's different for everybody. I think if you could get to the real root and like really be honest with yourself, you don't have to share it with anyone, but like know where that's coming from and then start to work through that. And also start to realize, like, we bring our ego into the mix all the time. Like, I'm not good enough. What if I'm not the best? I'm not skinny enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. That's ego talking. So if you can try to focus on the women that you are leading and how much they really need you and what they need from you and how you've helped them, because I'm sure you've helped them up to this point. I save a little file on my phone called Love Letters, and I screenshot all of the good comments and emails and everything that I get. And when I feel down or I feel insecure, I just look at that. So, you know, you have a limiting belief right now. Let's figure out where it's coming from, and then let's figure out how to just smash it into a million pieces, blow it up, and focus on something new.
I love what you do during a new moon.
Oh, yes.
And I do this now. Like, your podcast and these books are incredible. I can't say it enough, but share with them what you do during a new moon, because I love it.
Is that the intention setting when I set my intentions? Yeah. So for the new moon, like, I'm kind of into astrology. I'm fascinated by it. I wouldn't call myself an expert by any means, because I don't know what's in retrograde when, and I don't like live and die by that stuff. But I do think the new moon and the full moon are fun times. So new moon is about setting new intentions, planting new seeds. So I take a piece of paper and I write down everything that I want to call into my life during that cycle. And then the full moon is when you release it, when you let go of what's no longer serving you. So you make a list. And again, astrology is really just, it's like self-help, honestly. It's just, you're using like the moon cycle, you're using the, you know, the stars or whatever to kind of like guide you through it. But new moon is all about setting the intention. And then full moon, what you do is you take the list of the things that aren't serving you and you like either burn it or like you rip it up into a million pieces and you let it go. So they're just fun rituals. I think it just comes down to being intentional.
And those little things, as when you first think of them, you're like, that's not going to work, but it does help. Like, it has helped me a lot. Katie, you have a quick question, and then I have one. Where are you? I'm going to unmute you guys, even though you're probably scared to death. I'm unmuting you anyway. Katie, you're unmuted. Or you were. Oh, no, you're not. There you go.
Okay. So you talk about visualization and finding clarity and focus a lot. What are some ways that you accomplished that?
Good question.
Oh, good one. Good one. So visualization is huge. I used the power of visualization when I was leaving my full-time job at MTV and making the decision to walk away from that career and do this full-time, which most people thought was insane. And I get it, but it worked, obviously. But during that time, I spent a lot of time every single morning actually visualizing like what my ideal day would look like. So in the moment when my alarm was going off and I knew that I had like maybe 15 minutes before I had to absolutely get out of bed and like rush like mad to make a coffee and get out the door, I would pretend it wasn't happening. I would literally fantasize about a different life for myself. And if it was 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and I would picture what it would look like if I wasn't going to that job. And it was almost like this little escape, you know, again, simplifying it. It's like playing a movie in your head. That's all visualization is. Playing a movie in your mind of the way you want it to look. So I visualized everything down to like, you know, traveling around the world and doing events like flying first class, which I had never done before, you know, with my Louis Vuitton luggage and all these things I didn't have at the time. And I made it all happen. I manifested all of it, like every single thing, almost creepily, like down to like the seat on the plane that I was in, like seat 1A. And I remember when I booked my first class flight, it was to Chicago. So it wasn't even like anything fancy, but it was just the fact that I could do that for myself was so exciting. And I booked seat 1A, like I pictured. So it's a fun ritual to do. It's an escape. If you find yourself getting in this like kind of cycle of anxiety, to me, that's like the best way to snap yourself out of it. Just visualize, change the movie that is playing in your mind to something that you want to see in your life.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Monica said, do you document those visualizations? She does. Like if you guys read the stuff or follow her on, you know, Instagram stories, Snapchat, all of that stuff, she does a vision board and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote about a lot of them too in the books, like just things that I've pictured happening that have like manifested. But the other side of that I do want to bring up, which is important, you've got to meet that then with inspired action. You know, we can't just wish things into our lives. Like we're not witches, you know, unfortunately, it's not magic like that. But, you know, I think once you create, and this is actually scientifically proven, once you create these new thoughts and these new images, your mind subconsciously starts to move in that direction because you start to believe those things are your truth. So you are basically rewiring your brain, you know, with new beliefs, with affirming beliefs, with new visuals of what you want to happen in your life. And then you start to match that. You start to bring that into reality by doing the work to make it happen.
When I think back of all the manifesting that I've done and things that have happened, it's very strange to me that I can't continue to remember that in bad times. Cause I'm like, I brought all that stuff into existence. I made it my life. And then on bad days or things that you're dealing with adversity, you have to remember when you got to those places instead of focusing on the bad. I found that to be an issue. What is your favorite part of this book? Like, what do you hope that, you know, is there a section that you hope people are like, oh my gosh, that was just changed my life?
I think redefining beauty as energy is something that I'm really proud of. And I talked about a lot of things in that chapter that women are doing, close friends of mine, family members that I see, you know, getting crazy plastic surgeries and cosmetic surgeries and just doing all these unnatural things to themselves because they're looking for confidence and they think they're going to find it in a vial of Botox or in a boob job or something like that. And it's like, that's not where it comes from. And I think I want us to all realize that, to me, the most beautiful woman in the room is the one who thinks she is the most beautiful woman in the room. You know, I have seen so many women just like walk into a party or a restaurant who aren't classically beautiful, right, according to like society standards. Maybe they're not, you know, they don't have like the body that is on every magazine cover, but they are freaking owning it and they look absolutely stunning and gorgeous because they're radiating this positivity from the inside out. So I really talk about that because I think it's something that we all struggle with. And you know, I'm 38 years old, like I'm getting older, I'm starting to see lines on my face and I don't want to give in to that. I don't want to feel like I need to alter my appearance. I don't want to smooth my face out on Instagram before I post a photo. It's just such a waste of time. So I think if more women could start to understand that, yeah, of course I love to do fun things. I have eyelash extensions, I do my hair paint, but those are all accessories to what's happening inside of me, to my own inner beauty. And I think we should all really start to feel that way about ourselves because it really changes everything.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy for you. And I'm so glad we got to do this. I don't know if you guys follow her podcast or Snapchat or Instagram stories, but go follow everything, because every week that podcast is like no joke, my staple. Like you're always touching on something that is affecting us as women, or, wanting to be business owners and dealing with, I think, more than anything. And if direct sales companies in general could focus on some of these issues, have speakers like you, and I think we could have a lot more girl bosses out there that are owning it. So thank you so much for doing this. We're all pre-ordering the book, and everyone's going to be following you now. And I've recorded this, so I'm going to let the rest of my tribe, but I know these guys were on here live, and they're all going to pre-order your book. And so I can't wait for you guys to read it, because you're going to love it. I'm down to the last, I think, few pages, because I didn't finish it all. It didn't even matter. The first 10 pages, I was bawling and crying and so happy.
I started crying when I did the audiobook recording. Like, I just, like, the last page, like, I write these things sometimes, they're almost like, they're like love letters to like myself, to my audience, to my readers. And like, sometimes I read it back and it like makes me very emotional. This book made me very emotional because I put so much into it. So I'm so happy that you appreciate it, Jill, and you're loving it. And I can't wait for you guys to read it. It's
awesome. And never, you're so authentic. You're just so real. And it's such a breath of fresh air, honestly. So we love you. And I can't wait to watch all of your success and watch all of your journey, and look at them. They're loving you guys. They're loving you.
Aw, I love you guys so much. Thank you for being on and asking so many questions and being here.
Have fun at your party.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We can't wait.
Thank you, Jill. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye, guys.